I was waiting, like, just in case something happened here. You know, Malik Willis kept falling and falling and falling, and he's still available. But I want to give my reaction to my team, the Atlanta Falcons, and their draft pick here. And I know what I feel like, and I went through a bunch of Falcons Twitter to check stuff out, and I saw a lot of people really, really upset that we drafted Drake London. That, oh, we needed help on the O line. Yes, we needed a pass rusher. Yes, we did. But with the way that Jermaine Johnson fell, who was probably the only guy that you would have wanted to really pick there, who fell to what, 26 or 27, I got to assume the Falcons probably tried to trade back up to maybe snag him there potentially, but it didn't. The only question here really is, like, who really is going to be the best receiver in this draft? And obviously it is a guess, right? Now, when I am guessing, I know a lot of the other receivers in the draft were kind of like speed guys, smaller receivers. I like the big receivers. I like them. Not every big receiver is good, and not every good receiver is big, and I understand that. But getting someone who is 6'4", who breaks tackles, is physical, I'm a big fan of, right? Now, the idea of, hey, we do need a lot of help, and that is 100% true. The first round wasn't going to fix this team in any stretch of the imagination. No matter who you picked, it wasn't like, oh, well, now we're good. No, we still have a long way to go. And we have lots of other picks, right? And the comments of, well, who's going to throw him the ball? It's like, well, obviously it's Marcus Mariota. You can't act like he's terrible. What is he going to be? I don't know, honestly. But I'm really willing to find out here. Now, if somehow Malik Willis falls even more and we pick him in round 2, that is the thing. But I'm totally fine with the pick here. Again, I much prefer the bigger receivers here. Maybe we could have got Garrett Wilson or something like that, which a lot of people thought. Again, maybe not, right? I don't know how he's gonna do, but I know Drake London and Kyle Pitts are both absolute problems out there for people. I feel like his ceiling is really, really high. And when I say really, really high, I don't mean he's Randy Moss or Terrell Owens. I mean, he could be in the Mike Evans realm. And I promise you this, Mike Evans on a team is an amazing thing. I would love to have had Mike Evans throughout all his years in his career. That's a very good pick. Is it the best? No. Is that ideally who I wanted? No, I kind of wanted us to, if Thibodeau fell to us or Sauce fell to us, that would have been cool. But it didn't happen that way. So I'm not going to be upset. Oh, they didn't get the guy I wanted. He was already picked. It doesn't really matter there, right? Again, the Falcons, well, they will never say, we are rebuilding. I understand you're not rebuilding to you, but to the fans, we see that you are indeed rebuilding. And it is okay. This is a long process. This is not a 1 year thing that we are going into here, right? Now, draft next year obviously has some pretty good quarterbacks, some other stuff there. So if we aren't very good, then maybe those are the players we pick up. Now, I will say my biggest disappointment from this is the lack of other moves. Not that we didn't get to make today, but just in general, when we see Hollywood Brown and AJ Brown get traded for, call them mid first round picks. And all those times I was like, well, we assumed we were probably going to trade Calvin Ridley to the Eagles. It was who called, and they gave up, what was it, 18 for AJ Brown? That whole situation really makes me even more mad now, knowing that, wait, the Eagles were calling to try to get a receiver, and then the Eagles went ahead and got a receiver in AJ Brown, who was probably a little bit higher than Ridley. It was just fair. But man, right? We could have had 18 or 23 in the draft, and you would have been able to get the Jermaine Johnson you would have wanted. Instead, we have Calvin Ridley, who cannot play. And will he play for the Falcons ever again? Obviously, no idea on that. But, like, that kind of hurts. The concept of hearing all the talk about trading potentially Grady Jarrett away. Is he? I don't know. You know, if they trade him, it's a much more clear signal to everyone that it is a rebuild. You can't hide behind your words at that point. So that's where my upsetness comes from. With it all, I would have, like, if you would have told me, hey, Calvin Ridley's still on your team, he's going to play this year, that is great. Obviously, it would have changed what we did with the draft. We probably don't draft a Drake London there, but this also makes me think that we are not going to have Calvin Ridley, and we probably still will eventually try to trade him away when he's allowed to come back, whenever that is. I know it's a year, could be longer, who knows, but got to assume now this means that Calvin Ridley is not there. The way that everything fell and has worked out between trading Julio Jones away, who the second round pick is coming up for, Calvin Ridley's issue. We needed a receiver. Yes, we needed other positions, and no, you're not going to win the Super Bowl because we draft Drake London in his rookie years. But we do need receivers. We lost in the last 2 years. We've lost Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, and Russell Gage. And the Russell Gage, not quite up to that level, but he still performed really well, I thought, for us. What are we going to do? Sign Julio back? I don't think he wants to come back. So, again, I am totally fine with the pick. I would not have wanted us to pick offensive line here, even though we do need offensive line help, and that we do. I hope that we can actually address it in later rounds and later picks in the draft. It's possible to just get a really good player in different parts. Creed Humphrey last year for the Chiefs turned out to be one of the best centers in football. It wasn't you didn't have to pick him at 8. You got, I don't know when it was, pick 48 or something like that. It was a while. There are players out there, and probably the issue we had in the past was identifying that always correctly. You know, we did have the one draft where we drafted McGarry and Lindstrom in the first round. Did it work out okay? Partially. It worked out partially okay. Jake Matthews is still around, and he's kind of big contract. But receivers are costing a lot of money these days. If you guys have seen the contracts as well, AJ Brown, as soon as he was traded, was basically signed for $25 million a year. I don't really want to be paying receivers that kind of money. In my opinion, I do not, especially on a team that has cap issues. So who are we going to get to catch the ball? If we kept Mariota perfectly clean, didn't get sacked once all year, I still don't know how effective and efficient the offense would have been. By us getting a receiver here, someone we feel the potential, getting that 5th-year option with them as well is going to be helpful. On a good contract allows us to use cap space in other places. Maybe places where we don't have to get a top 3 or 4 type player, but where we can get really, really solid pieces. So again, I am totally okay with it. If you look at it within a bigger picture, it makes more sense. If you look at it in a small picture of, I wanted this guy, we didn't get this guy, I'm mad. You're going to be mad a lot of times. Do you guys remember when we drafted AJ Terrell? I do. I wasn't overly fond of that pick. Turned out pretty well. I'm always going to be supportive and positive of my team with the picks they make, because that is the type of fan that I am. When they make mistakes in the long run, hey, guess what? We'll call them out and do all that. But when we come into the draft, we have a new kid join the team. He's like 20 years old. He's super young too. I'm going to support him all the way. Drake London, you're not going to see this, but we're here for you. Welcome to Atlanta. I'm happy. Let's go. Rise up.